like I said, it's memorable for them, but it's memorable for us. Like I literally remember some of those kids that I went and visited and had, shoot paint at me or just kind of play. Kids that have, video games in their room want to challenge you to a video game quick, things like that. Like you remember some of those kids, and there was a couple kids that I remember that we had multiple visits with, through whether it was through the whole team or just our Badgers Give Back program, that you kind of got to see them grow over time. They had obviously, unfortunately, long battles with things that you'd see them multiple times, but you kind of build a little relationship with them, and it's special. So, those ones kind of stick with you.
They're inspirational and they're our heroes. They might look up to Derek, and like you said, it's actually they're impacting us. They're our heroes and they're giving us inspiration.
Well, this is super fun for me because, Derek, I watched you from high school to college to getting married and the pros and now having kiddos of yourself, and just so proud of who you are and what you've done. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us. It has been a great friendship over the years, and it's good to see you again.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I know that volunteering and giving back was something that was super important and was instilled in you guys as a young age. Do you remember something from when both of you guys were younger that you were able to volunteer at or give back that kind of still sticks with you?
When growing up, my parents have always kind of said it takes a community to raise a family, and we've always kind of wanted to give back to that community. And so we used to do things, just when we were kids, just obviously being around in the community, helping out whenever we wanted. It's kind of a close-knit, everybody knows everybody, just always offering a helping hand. We would do little events, but I just kind of carried over into throughout college, going to children's hospitals and just trying to brighten people's day and just put a smile on their face, and just all sorts of other opportunities that come up, and trying to go to food banks, things like that. Just any chance you get, just to kind of help out in your community where you are is a huge factor, and just goes a long way for sure.
And then for me personally, I was raised in a Catholic elementary and middle school, and I feel like our school and my parents always really instilled volunteer work. Our school used to host, it was kind of like a special day for underprivileged children to just have a fun carnival event. And I can remember I was in elementary school when I started volunteering with that. And it just absolutely, I loved it so much. And we did food bank work. And from there on out, it was just something I couldn't get away from. Just the feeling of doing good in your community and your church was always amazing.
That is amazing. And now having kids of your own, do you see you guys trying to instill those qualities in your kiddos now?
For
Definitely.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Well, we definitely try to lead by example and let them see us do things, but then also just kind of voice that to them and just show them how important that is to kind of have that be a part of your life.
Derek, you talked about community and, the small community of Pewaukee that really you guys were so very much a part of, but I can't think of Pewaukee without thinking of Grandpa Watt. How special it is that there is the award, at the scholarship at the high school that you guys are at, that you were able to be a part of.
It's extremely special. Like you said, Grandpa Watt is kind of synonymous with Pewaukee, especially Pewaukee athletics. There wasn't an event that was going on at the high school, whether we were playing or not. I mean, there was events we weren't even involved in that he's up at, and people hearing him cheering in the stands. And he was just that guy that was so well known, that just was super positive, always supporting Pewaukee athletics, no matter what. And, whether times were good, times were bad, he was cheering you on. And he would literally sit in his car up at football practices in the winter with his lights on, and his battery would die because he didn't realize his lights were on. And I remember our whole team walking past his car after practice, just talking to him, say, "Hey, Grandpa Watt, thanks for coming out. We love your support." And he was a great guy. We miss him dearly, but just set great example for us, and truly embodied a lot of the Pewaukee community. And we wanted to honor him with this scholarship, and just kind of honor him and allow kids to strive to do good things and help them out in their own lives as well.
So my first time meeting Grandpa Watt was at a bank in Pewaukee, of course. I got to help him up the stoop after he got out of his car, but he had on the famous suspenders with the big buttons, big pins of all three of you boys, which was pretty cool to see. We knew who he was, even if we didn't know who he was.
Oh yeah, he had his number one jersey, his number one Pewaukee jersey with his pirate on one side, Badger suspenders, and he was very proud of us, and we were very proud that he was our grandpa.
That's so cute. I love that. And speaking of just like people in your life that are mentors or you look up to, is there anyone else that stood out to you in the course of your life, whether it was a mentor for just being influential in positive ways and giving back, or anyone that really kind of changed you or shaped you?
I mean, like I said, my parents just kind of instilled that in us. And then obviously, from a very personal level, like JJ took it and kind of ran with it first, he's being the oldest with his foundation, how passionate he was about that and getting that started at a pretty young age for him to really kind of get that going and really took that by the reins and just kind of propelled that into what it is now. I mean, his foundation has done some incredible things, obviously. And his platform, he continues to do great community service work and just always willing to help and give back. So that's been cool to see and just kind of helped, kind of pave the way and continue to kind of follow in those footsteps and grow from there in that perspective. What about you?
I thought it was for you, but I definitely, similar, we've been raised in similar families, and my parents always just were great role models. My mom was a school teacher and my dad was a police officer, and so they just were people that their occupations was doing good in the community, and I wanted to be just like them, and I still do, and I look up to them to this day. And I think Derek having the platform that he's had through football, he just wanted to make the most of it, and he's had opportunities that maybe if he didn't have football in his life, that he's been able to take the extra step and go the extra mile and make the connections that he can to really give back in the best ways that we both can now as a family.
That's awesome. I know you guys were very involved, in LA with the Chargers, and in Philly. And that's not Philly, Pittsburgh with the Steelers. Is there any events or anything that you did, in those two communities that stand out to you?
Definitely. So we did, going back to my time in San Diego and LA, we did, children's hospitals visits. We did, I went and saw veterans in VA and did things like that. When Hurricane Harvey happened, we did, Gabriella and I and some of our teammates went and did, water, food, all those things kind of for food drives. And I did another food bank opportunity there. Just the team would kind of come up with some, like they would always have opportunities for us. And we were definitely ones that, willing to jump at anyone we were available for. And we tried to find some on our own as well. But it was always great to have somebody that would be able to present some opportunities for us and get involved as much as possible. And with the Steelers, we did, obviously with the Waukesha parade tragedy, we were able to, through the Steelers, be able to give back between ourselves.
The Steelers matched the donation.
Yeah, the Steelers were able to match. So we got them to match as well to kind of help back, again, in our community, but through the community we were in as well, to match a big donation to help out those, victims and their families and just the community here, because that was obviously a big tragedy. And then last year as well, we did a similar thing for the Western Pennsylvania Police Benevolent Foundation. We were able to kind of do a similar contribution to that to help families and current and former policemen and who have either been injured or fallen in the line of duty to kind of help them with issues that could arise with that stuff, obviously.
I love that. I know you talked a little bit about, the children's hospitals, and I think, and I'm sure it's true for you, having your own children now, it just gives a whole separate meaning to going and doing those things.
And that's what I was going to say. The ones that have always stuck out to me is definitely the Children's Hospital, and then the Waukesha parade tragedy, where we were able to just even help a little bit in such a tragic circumstance, and then the Police Benevolent Foundation in Pennsylvania. The Children's Hospital in particular, though, just we are very normal people, but if a little kid or anyone thinks highly or they look up to Derek, if just spending time can make their day and put a smile on their face, I would want to do it every week. It's just something that's so simple, but I think it leaves a lasting impact, and there's no better feeling in just helping keep them positive.
Yeah, it's very easy on our end to go and do those things. And that just kind of reminded me. I used to do it through the football program at Wisconsin. It was called Badgers Give Back. I would do events with them all the time. Going to the Children's Hospital, we would do let them shoot paint at our faces and kind of make make little artwork out of us. Things like that. It's so easy for us to go and do, but it goes such a long way. And just like I said, spending time making a little quick memory with them. Is just awesome to be able to see.
And taking their minds off of something that there's a large battle for a little person to be going through. And if even for a little while you can take their minds off of it and get a laugh, that it's the most rewarding feeling I can only imagine. Derek's been able to do it multiple times.
What I think is awesome is you guys know you're impacting so many others when you're going and doing these things. But looking at your face and your expressions as you're describing it, it's clear that you guys are impacted as well.
Absolutely.
For sure. Those things, like I said, it's memorable for them, but it's memorable for us. I literally remember some of those kids that I went and visited and had, shoot paint at me, or just kind of play kids that have, video games in their room, want to challenge you to a video game quick, things like that. Like, you remember some of those kids. And there was a couple kids that I remember that we had multiple visits with, whether it was through the whole team or just our Badgers Give Back program, that you kind of got to see them grow over time. They had obviously, unfortunately, long battles with things that you'd see them multiple times, but you kind of build a little relationship with them, and it's special. So, those ones kind of stick with you.
They're inspirational, and they're our heroes. They might look up to Derek, and like you said, it's actually they're impacting us. They're our heroes, and they're giving us inspiration.
That's so sweet. Well, all seriousness aside, we did want to just get to know you guys on a more personal level a little bit. So we thought it'd be fun to play a little game. We just decided to call it Who Is. So these questions are for both of you, and Shelly and I will just fire them away. My first one is, who's more competitive?
Derek.
Me.
I would try to say me, but he will keep the conversation going.
See there.
We know that, Gabriella, you spent a lot of time on TV as a sports reporter. Derek, you got into hosting a little bit with Ultimate Tag. So who's better on TV?
I'll take that one.
I will say that I was very good for that being my first time. I did a damn good job. I will stand by my work.
Who is the better cook of the two of you?
That's definitely me.
She cooks very well.
Derek has started helping out in the kitchen and on the grill a bit, and he's a quick learner. So
I'm a big griller. She does a lot more full meal construction. I just do stuff on the grill.
Construction, love it, love it. Who's the disciplinarian with the kiddos?
Both of us, maybe. Yeah. I'm a little more on top of it. Derek is a little more lax with it, though.
Well, you're a little more lenient, I guess. I don't know. We're both disciplinary, but I guess
we're both good cop, bad cop when we need to be.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you need both. You need both. All right, last one. Who is more romantic?
Me.
All right, give it to her. Give it to her, Derek.
She's gonna say that we're watching a movie or a show and there's some romantic scene or something that's touching the heart. She wears it on her tears will come down and she gets all.
That's okay. That's good.
If he's missing it, I pause it and rewind. Derek, look at
discussions. Yeah, I mean.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay, last one before we hit our last question, actually. But we always say, your parents both obviously taught you guys a ton. what advice have they given you that you're now using with your kids?
Well, go ahead. You start.
Okay.
For me, it was always like my parents said, like, you have to have the good cop, bad cop, scenario. You guys gotta level yourselves out.
My parents too, they are just, at the end of the day, they've always let my brother and me know they're our biggest supporters, and that they'll always be honest with us though and tell us what we need to hear, not what we want to hear. And
I
so
love
I
that.
definitely think that's something that, because they're 2 and 4 right now, our kids, so it's still, you're more gentle with them, but still stern. And so that's definitely, as they get older, I think we're both on the same page with that, is we'll always be their best support system and always try to keep them positive. But we're also going to be stern and tell them what they need to know and help guide them the best that we can do.
Yeah, they're definitely at a young enough age still where that all applies very much so. We're not exactly, teaching them too many big lessons that we want them to, we obviously want them to grow up and be great, model citizens, great people, things like that. But
humans,
they're 2 and 4. Most and stuff right now, we're telling them to be hitting and biting and, messing around with each other, leave them alone, more sharing, cleaning up, things like that. But one big thing that my dad always told us, every day when we walked out the door to school, and Logan could be going to school here soon, and saying, act like somebody, was what he always told us every morning. Act like somebody, was just go out there and be somebody that you're proud of, that I'm proud of, and don't just go through the motions and just be anybody out there. Go out there and be somebody that you can be proud of. So that was something he told us every single day we walked out the door.
Similarly with that, sorry if I can add on one more time, is just we want them to be their own individual people. I think a lot of people already have asked, are they going to play football? Are they going to do? And we don't care what they end up doing or what they end up being, as long as they give 100% effort, as long as they are true to themselves. There's a quote, it's what's popular isn't always right, and what's right isn't always popular. So to just always stay true to themselves and do what they know in their hearts is the right thing to do.
I love that quote.
Thank you. I didn't come up with it, but I live by it.
I love that one. I have to tell my kiddos that one.
Well, we are here on the Athletes Doing Good podcast, so we always like to ask our guests, what does Athletes Doing Good mean to you? And I think you guys both have great platforms, so you can even take that one step further and think of it as, what does, someone with a platform like you, what does it mean for them to do good?
Yeah. It's kind of just all encompassing a little bit of what we've talked about here today. We have that little extra, pedestal that we're on where people view, people tune in all over the world to watch, myself and my colleagues play, all the time. And you get that platform where all these eyes are on you and you have that opportunity to use it for good. Not always do people do that, but it's, athletes doing good is something that not only can help other people, but just brings everybody else along with you. Like, you can just set such a good example for your peers, but then also just making that little difference, that little impact for whether it's kids, veterans, anybody that you could make a difference for. Just making those small little things, like we said, that can be they're honestly pretty easy to be able to do for us. Doing that, going a little extra mile can go such a long way. And just, there's no reason not to do good. We've been so blessed and have so many opportunities that to be able to spread a little bit of wealth and spend some time and just make a little bit of a difference in people that maybe have a little less fortunate and are just going through a hard time and whatnot. So just little things like that are very easy to go and do.
And I think in summarizing kind of what Derek said is there's 2 different avenues that I see it as. One is today's world has so much social media presence, and children and adults are very impressionable. So I think when you have a platform where you have followers and they want to be like you, or they want to see, I think it's great to show that you can be good people and you can help your community. And then again, I think we've said before how his platform and the connections that we can make through that, it's kind of connections that maybe if he didn't have the platform, or we didn't have a platform, that we wouldn't otherwise have. And so when we can create those connections and have a better reach to help more people, that's ultimately what athletes doing good means to me, at least.
Well, thank you guys. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Keep doing great things, and we'll be following you.
Thanks, Shelly. Thank you, Danica.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With you guys.